My name is Mike Olivella. I'm a professional photographer in Tallahassee, Florida. Welcome to my photography studio. I set the place up over the summer, so it's been less than a year since I've been in this space, and I did it with a budget in mind. I didn't want to spend a whole lot of money on equipment, but by the same token I wanted to get the best possible equipment I could afford to get. The space is 20 feet by 20 feet, so it's not inordinately huge, but it provides me with enough space to do the things that I like to do. One of the first things that I did when I set the studio up is I installed this 35-foot diameter parachute, which serves as a diffuser of light that comes in from the warehouse ceiling. I have a makeup area and a makeshift dressing area where models can apply their makeup. Along the top, I set up a stand, some shelves with the wigs that I use, and I have a shelf over here with additional reference materials and various other props. Over here I have a garment rack with various clothing accessories that I use for some of my shoots. In the way of props, furniture, I have this elaborate looking chair for the more formal portraits, and then this more contemporary one. I have this table, which I keep back behind the two chairs, various vases with flowers. Another smaller table with a hat box that I sometimes use. A more formal, elegant type of table. I use this with tablecloths and without tablecloths. And then hiding behind the stuff are 3 columns. They're white plaster. I use them for a variety of different images. This is my shooting position. I'm standing where I normally shoot from. The posing stool is in place, the backdrop is in place, and essentially with the person sitting there, that is what I would be seeing through the camera. The posing stool sits in position directly below a hair light, which I have mounted on a boom stand that sits overhead, pointed slightly forward towards the posing stool with a honeycomb grid. And this light is one of the few JTLs that I've been using. It's a JTL 160, so it's 160 watt per second. I have a large 52-inch octagon softbox sitting to the left of the shooting position with a photogenic Powerlight 1500. That's 500 watt per second light. Over to my right is a large 4-foot by 7-foot softbox that serves as my fill light. The octagon softbox serves as a potential key light. The 4x7 softbox has a Bowens ProLight 120 monolight, which is a 1000 watt per second monolight, so it provides plenty of juice, plenty of power for the softbox. I'll show you what these two big softboxes look like from the front. That's the big 4x7 softbox. And then over to the right, as you're sitting in the posing stool, is the octagon. To the right of the octagon, or almost in front of it, is my 22-inch beauty dish, which is set up in position for a shoot. And I have a photogenic 1250 monolight that's 500 watt per second, ready to go. All of these monolights are set up on boom stands with casters. As far as a key light goes, the beauty dish serves as my primary key light, although I can use the 60-inch softbox for a different look as the key light. And the big 4x7 softbox is typically my fill light. In addition to the big backdrop that I have down right now, I have several others behind it. I can roll this up, get it out of the way, and pull down any of the other several backdrops that I have behind. I have this stand in front of the backdrop with two different smaller backdrops, a black one and a white one. And when I don't need to do full-length shots, I can simply walk over, grab hold of this, pull it over, and I can extend it out, center it, so that it serves as a high-key backdrop, or in the case of the black one, a low-key backdrop. I mentioned earlier that I have additional backdrops behind the one that I have pulled down. And as you can see, some of the backdrops are mounted with a chain system where I can simply roll and unroll them by pulling on the chain. In addition to the lights I've shown you, I've got a 1 foot by 3 foot softbox, strip light as they call it, which I typically use for dramatic lighting by placing the light angled towards the back of the subject at about a 45-degree angle facing forward. It's powered by a photogenic 375 monolight, which is a 160 watt per second light. Next to the strip light is my 2 foot by 3 foot photogenic softbox, which has a photogenic power light 1500, another 600 watt per second monolight. I use this softbox as a fill light. I can also use it as a key light. Another softbox that I use is this 2 by 2 foot softbox, which is attached to this boom arm. And this is primarily used for a clamshell type of lighting. I'll set that up in front of the model, down low, angled up like you see it, and then set up the beauty dish up high, angled down, and it creates a means where I can eliminate the shadows underneath the chin and on the shoulders by simply having this light fire, as opposed to using a reflector. The 2 by 2 softbox uses a JTL 160 monolight. Again, it doesn't need to provide a whole lot of power because it's typically used very close to the model. So this JTL J160, which is a 160 watt per second light, is more than enough. I will also use the 60-inch Octagon as the backdrop for certain types of shots if I want the light to wrap around the model's face from the rear, and if I want a really blown out white backdrop, I would set up the Octagon softbox behind the model angled up, shoot from in front of the model with the beauty dish overhead and the 2 by 2 softbox angled upward. That creates a blown out background. It creates lighting that wraps around the model's face, and the beauty dish angled down in the clamshell 2 by 2 foot softbox angled up creates a very, very nice effect. In front of the backdrop on both sides, I have 1 foot by 5 foot strip lights, softboxes without the diffusers in front. And those are my backdrop lights. I have them set up so they crisscross, pointed at the opposite end of the backdrop. And they light up the backdrop when I'm doing high key kind of shots. Part of my photography involves using fans for that blown by unseen winds look. So I have one fan on this side that I can position, and I have a second one over here that I can also put into position for use. Last but not least, I keep a couple of reflectors on hand just in case I need to eliminate shadows, and they're mounted on boom stands so that I can position them any way I want. So there you have it, my studio in a nutshell, the equipment that I use and how I went about setting it up. If you're trying to set up your own studio, I hope this information helps you. Thanks for watching.